Okay, you're welcome back to week 7, and this is JavaScript library React. Once again, my name is Amadi Chile. So let's get started. So on Saturday, this Saturday, we are going to learn the following about React. What is React? What is SPA? How to install React? Installing some vscode extension useful in React, explaining React environment, React components, React props. Then we're also going to learn about adding React events, styling a React component with CSS, Sass or Tailwind, React routes, React hooks, React lists, React forms, and some other things. So what is React? Well, React is a JavaScript library for building user interfaces. React is used to build single page application, or SPA for short. React allows us to create reusable UI components, and this will be very helpful when building a large project. So what is SPA? SPA is a single page application, as we saw earlier. So an SPA is a web application that loads only a single web document and then updates the body content of that single document via JavaScript API calls such as fetch when different content is to be shown. So this therefore allows users to use website without reloading whole new pages from the server, which can result in performance gain and a more dynamic experience. So that is one of the advantage of what using React, which works with SPA. So new content are added without having to refresh the page, and they are more faster. So a setback in SPA website is SEO, which is search engine optimization, but this is solved with a React framework called Next.js. So what is different between a library and a framework? Now, developers often use the term library and framework interchangeably, but there is some difference. The technical difference between a framework and library lies in a term called inversion of control. So when you use a library, you are in charge of the flow of the application, and that is what React gives us. You are choosing when and where to call the library. When you use a framework, the framework is in charge of the flow, provides some places where you plug in your code, but calls the code you plug in as needed. So React is a library while Next.js is a framework. So if you are building a React application and you are interested in search engine optimization, that is how easily can web applications like Google get the content of your website, then you have to use a React framework on Next.js. But if you're not interested in that, then you should use the normal React, which is very, very poor on search engine optimization. So how to install React? Well, there are many ways to install or run React. An easy way that loads React faster is with Vite. So earlier I've already made a short video that demonstrates how we can install React using the following points. So you might go back to the Telegram group to see that, but I'm also going to make that video available very soon. So to install React with Vite, we have install Node.js on your PC. So if you go to if you just search on Node.js download, you're going to see that. So let me quickly do that. So just type on Node.js download. So if you do that, it's going to load this website for you. So once you do that, based on your operating system, it's going to automatically detect that. So I'm using Linux, so I'm going to install this using my terminal. So if I do this, I'm going to have a Node.js installed. So if I do that, then the next thing I'm going to do is to come back here, and I have to confirm if Node is installed by typing node ---- version, and that was given to us here. So node -v, it should print out the version of Node that you installed. So but this is the latest version, so it will not show you this 10.0. Okay, that's for that. Then the next thing is to install, type npm install -v. So when it's finished installing, it's going to show you something like added some few packages. Then if it did not show you anything that has to do with error, then it has installed. But make sure you have a strong internet connection so that these processes will go seamlessly. The npm create vite at latest my React app. So this is the name of your folder, and if you type this thing like this, so -- space, so after the app here there's a space, -- space, -- template space React. So that will create a React application for you, but you have to go inside that folder by using cd the folder name, which is my React application. Of course, you see the instructions on your terminal. npm install. So once you do your npm install, then npm run dev. So that will easily do that for you. So note, npm will stand for node package manager. npm stands for node package manager. -g means install globally or on my PC. Then cd means change directly. So let's quickly go over this step and see if we'll have a seamless network. So let me go over this again. So I'll open my terminal. Then the first instruction says I should type. So after installing your node, of course you have to confirm if your node is installed. So I have mine installed. So node -g -v. So I have my node installed. So the next thing I'm going to do is this. npm install vite -g. So I already have vite installed. So vite -v. So if I do that, it's going to get me the vite version I've installed. So I've already done that. So the next step now is npm create vite at latest, then the name of your app management template. So if you want to, so even though you've installed vite, then you can still type the command, only it will just update it. So npm install vite -g. So if you hit that, so that will be going through its process. So I'm using Linux, so I have to log in as an admin. So sudo -s, so npm install vite -g Okay, so that has been installed. So the next thing is npm create bytes at latest. Then the name of my folder now is yt React demo 2, then minus template React. So this should take less than 5 seconds. So I'll cd into this folder. So if you don't have the strength to type, you can. Now when you are working with the terminal, you don't do Ctrl+C, so you just use your option. So this gives us, actually if you're using Linux, you can have that option. I think Windows also have that option. So I'm inside that folder. So the next thing is npm install. So this should not take long depending on your network speed. Okay, so that has been installed. So the next thing for us to do is to type npm run dev. So this is going to open that for us. So I'm going to close this other one which I've installed. The one thing I can do is to split my terminal horizontally, then I'll cd into yt. So what is the name of that folder again? yt React demo 2. So yt React demo 2, then npm, then code space dots. So I've already started that. So to test your React, you hold your control and you press this key and you press this link. So this is going to open React for you. So this is it. Our React is working nice with that. Now you notice what we just learned now, that React can change state, can add new page content without refreshing. So you see this counter is working without having to refresh the page. So let's go over to the next one. So we are finished installing our React. So the next thing is installing some vscode extensions useful in React. So you're going to install year 7 React Redux. This one is also used for React Native 2. Then import cost. So let's do that. So you go to your extension tab here by clicking on this icon. then I've already installed that. So the next one I need to install is, so if you have not installed it, just type ES7, then choose the one from Schneider, this one. So I'm going to type import cost, so when installing an extension like this, always choose the one with the high level of download and the high like. So this is the one that is the highest for now, so there's no other one. So let's download this one, import cost. So click on install. So depending on your network speed, this can be more faster or more slower. So let's go back to the next slide, explaining the React environment. So I'm going to start with explaining the folders and their meaning, files and their meaning. But before I go so excuse me, but before I go into the VS Code, let's understand some basic definitions. React packages. In React, a package is a collection of files that have been bundled together into a single project. In other words, they are reusable codes designed by a person or group of persons that makes you build a project faster. So there are some couple of things you want to do, but that can take time to code. Somebody else have already done that for you and makes it easier for you to use it like a reusable function. So that is what packages are. Then what is JSX? JSX stands for JavaScript XML, and React uses this. JSX allows us to write HTML in React easily. So what JSX does is that it makes us write JavaScript in our React as if we are writing, it makes us to write HTML in our React as if we are writing HTML in our normal HTML document. So that will speed up the development process. So now before we come back to these rules of JSX, let's see what JSX looks like, and then we can begin to examine its rules. I think that will make it more understandable to us. So let's go over this. So this has finished installing, so go over to the Explorer tab, then the folders. So I'll explain the folders first. Now when we download our React, when it shows us this point, so let's go back. So before we hit this our npm install, it's going to create all these files, but without the node modules. So the node modules comes after you've hit your npm install. So what is the node modules? Well, to understand the node modules, let's first of all understand what the package.json is. Now the package.json holds some information about your project. So if you notice here, it has the name of your project, which by default it will choose your folder name, then the version, then these are the scripts. So remember, we type npm run dev, so it's going to check here to see if this command exists. Then how will it execute this? Well, it will now go inside the node modules where there is a detailed explanation of what this should do, and that will help you to start up your Vite app like this. So we can say that package.json holds the list of commands or dependencies that your React application needs to work with. So let's use a simple analogy. So let's say for a company like Coca-Cola, they have a recipe that they use to make their Coke. So that is why it has the same test year after year, especially for the same brand or the same type. You know, there are various types of brand of Coca-Cola. So if you, for example, if you're drinking Coca-Cola Zero, it always have the same test. So that is a recipe. So even if the person that of course there are different companies that produce Coke, so because they use the same recipe, it has the same test. So it's not compulsory that a particular person must prepare the Coke before it will have the same test. So that is how package.json is. It holds the list of recipes that is needed to run your project. So why the node modules is like the detailed list of how the recipe should be applied. So even though we don't have the node modules, which is the details, we can still use this package.json to create the node modules or to get the details back. So that is how they are related. So as time goes on, we are going to be adding some packages. So the package details or list will come inside the package.json, while the details of how that package should behave and run will go inside our node modules. So a kind of word of advice: don't create a file or a folder inside these node modules. As you can see, it contains bunch of folders and files. So you see the file that we just typed now. If you go inside here, you're going to see some normal JavaScript that it will use to start up your development server. So please never create a file or folder inside here. I'll show you how you do that in a moment. Now, what about the package log.json? Now this package log.json holds some vital information too about your project. So it contains your project name, the version, and some other stuff. Now, one other thing that the package.json also holds is the list of URLs that it used initially to create these node modules, so that when I'm pushing this my project to Git, of course I'm going to ignore the node modules, because since it holds the details of the recipe, which is our package.json, the packages that we need to start up React easily is usually very large. So you don't want to waste your MB or time trying to load that. So that is one. Then, because it can be recreated when you have your package.json, so it's a fruitless effort if you're trying to push this to Git, including the node modules. So when a user pushes his React project to GitHub, you won't be able to see these node modules, but you're going to leave this package log.json and this. Now, because of this URLs here, it will download the same version of package that you have sorry, excuse me, for each of the package. So it has that record here where it keeps the site where it downloaded the package and the version, so that when you hit your npm install, it's going to install exactly what the original person that pushed the code had on his PC. Now, what about this resolved and integrity? Now, this resolved is, of course, is like the URL that is used to fetch that it used to get that package. Then this integrity is like a security key that is used to know if any of this list here has been tampered with. So if this doesn't match this, then it's not going to download. So this is also for your own interest, so that a user will not just create a solution that many people will love and then plant a malicious website that will install a bad script that can harm your system. So if he does that, then of course he will not know how to backdate to this, so that will create an error and the package.json will not install that script. So what if the person now deletes the package.json? Well, that is okay. Your node package manager will create a new package list for you with a new integrity. So this is to prevent some persons with malicious intent from using React to hijack or manipulate your PC. So that is that. So node modules holds the details of the package instructions. Then the package.json holds the list of instructions. So the list of instructions is held by the package.json. The details of the instructions is held by the node modules. Then the package.log.json holds the URLs and integrity of those URLs, so that it installs exactly what you need to run your project. But remember, in case this is not there, then it will be recreated as long as this is there. So that is for this. Then the public folder holds any files that you want the browser to easily access, for example some images. Then while the source folder holds a list of informations about the React project, and this is usually the folder that we'll be working with. Okay, so let's explain this one. Then the vite.config. Now this is just a configuration for Vite, so you don't have to touch anything here for now. Then the readme, of course, is a readme about your React project, so you can add this here. This will be useful in your GitHub repository. So the next one is the index.js, index.html. So the inside the index.html, we just have our normal HTML file. So with the root HTML, the head, and the body. So you see there's only one div item here. So just as I explained earlier, all other things that will be adding to this application will be injected using JavaScript. So the script for this application can be found in our source folder, which is this one, main.js. So let's go there. So inside the main.js, you see how a React document or a React component called app is being rendered. So this is the only time we have to pass through this process. So whatever thing we want to show on our browser, we have to do that using the app component. So this is a CSS that styles the entire application, and this is importing this React app. Then all these other necessary imports just for this page. So that is how this page looks like. Very, very important. We are going to come back to this page when we are working with our React Router DOM and our recoil. So we are going to come back here. Then the index.js, of course, is used to style the index page, just as you saw in your main.js. So we are calling that here as a global CSS to style the entire page. Then we have the app component. So as I explained earlier, some minutes ago or some seconds ago, this app.js is our window to the world. So whatever we want the user to see will pass to the app component. If you don't do that, then you have to pass to the pane of trying to write this length of code just to render an app, and by doing that you not enjoy the full flow of React. So one component, the other component will come to it. Okay, so if you want to style the app component specifically on its own, then you can do that using an app.css. So this is the CSS for this app component, and this CSS here is for the entire web page. So if there's any CSS you want for the entire web page, you can do that here. There's any CSS that you want that should be specific to only the app component, then you should do that here. Then as we create our own component, we can have their own unique CSS using this structure. So a component and a CSS. Now why is this important? Because it's very, very important, so that when you are calling a component, you're using the component, it comes fully prepared and styled, so that there will be no style issue. Okay, so we know what the git ignore does, so we've already done that. Then this assets folder, this is where you put your images and other stuff, which will be needed by your component. So as we go on, I'll show you the difference between this and this, but this is where we can put images that are needed by our components. Okay, so this ESLint is just like prettier. It can be used to determine how your JavaScript, how your React is being formatted. So we'll not do much with this. We'll continue using our prettier. So that is it for explaining React environment. So the next part we want to go to is inside the app.js. Let's learn about the JSX now. So the JSS, of course, stands for JavaScript XML. JSS allows us to write HTML in React easily. So some rules of JSS. So you use image slash instead of this. Now in React, when you create a component, this is how you call a component like this. So whether it's the one you created or for excuse me. So for a self-closing tag in our HTML, we don't call it like this, we call it like this. So that is just its rules. Then to write JavaScript inside your JSS, you enter JavaScript environment using the curly bracket. So for example, you have a h1 tag, then React is 10 times or 5 plus 5 times better with what? JSS. So we can do that. So let's do that. So you notice on our browser, this is what we have showing. So let's start writing our own code. So I'm going to remove this. So if I do that and save, you notice so let me try that again. Is telling me I can't edit unless I sign in as super user. So this is just unique to my Linux. So I'm trying to save. So I've saved that. So if I go to my browser, I'll just see an empty screen. Nice. So let's type that. So let's say I have a h1. So you notice let me go over that again. h1, you see, just like in our .html file. So that is JSS. So React is, so to enter our JavaScript environment inside JSS, you use your curly bracket, 5 plus 5 better with JSX. So let's see how that will show on the browser. So let's save that. Don't know why this is coming up. So if I do that, I'm going to have this. React is 10 times better with JSS. So I think what I can do here is to log out of this. Then I'm going to sign out as an admin. So let me close this terminal, unless I have to save each time. I have to log in as an admin each time I want to save that. So let me fix that, because that will make the class really slow. So npm on dev, then split the terminal. Okay, I'll find a way to fix this later. So let's continue managing that. So let me sign in as admin. So I think let me sign in as an admin here too. Let me clear that. What an unexpected error I have today. Okay, so let's let me try using vscode terminal. See if I'll have the same. Still the same thing, so I think I'll just continue, but that will slow us down. Okay, so let's continue. Add that will slow us down. That was unexpected. So we have seen how this works. Then when returning more than one element, put them inside a common parent tag or a fragment. So you notice here, let's assume I don't have this fragment, so that is a fragment, and I return this. So by now this should be up and running. Yes. So if I save this now, So let me try this save as. Failed to save. Just a moment, let me. So I have to fix that error. So I've fixed that error. So now if I make a change, so let's say put here 10, I don't have to sign in before I'll see the change. So now if I go back, it will see, you will see is React is 15 times. So let's add that. Better with JSX. So that is what we'll see. So that is for that. So now what if I want to output another thing? Let's say h2 and then 2. So you notice React is frying at me. Now if I hover here, notice the IntelliSense say JSX expression must have one parent element. So this is where a fragment comes into play. Now a fragment is just a nameless tag, but it is used for the purpose of fixing a problem like this, or when you don't want to use something like a div or a section so that it will not show on your DOM. So a fragment will not show on your DOM. You have to just show it without a parent div. So let me just add a fragment. So this is a fragment. It's like a nameless tag, but you see that problem has been solved. So on the DOM, what you see on the DOM is this, and you not see this fragment. But if I should add div here and div here, it will still fix the problem. But what if I don't want this div to show on the DOM? That is when the fragment works better. So that is how we can show that. So you see heading 2. So that is one of the rules of. So the first one is image tag must be this. Now let's also test that to see if it will show an error. So let's say I want to show an image. So img, of course by default the IntelliSense will add this, but let's say I remove this. Notice React is now frowning. So why is it frowning? If you hover here, it will show you JSX fragment has no corresponding closing tag. So you see that has been fixed. So let's add an image. So to add an image, you can use this. So this is already one of the method. You import the Vite logo from. Now look at the difference between loading an image from the asset and loading it from the public. Now if you're loading it from the public, you just use slash and the image name, but if you're loading from the asset, you have to load through that part. So dot / enter asset and that. So that is the difference. That's just the difference there. So if I Vite logo, no, Vite logo should come here. Then in the source, should have white logo. So if I do that, I'm going to have an image displaying here. This white image displaying here. So if you don't want to use this one, you can use this other one, require, then dot / so you have your asset, they have your React facts. So either of them. Okay, this didn't work, so you can go to your console.log. So let's see why it didn't work. So this doesn't work. Require is not defined. So this one normally works with React Native, but it doesn't work here. So white logo. So this is the one that we will be using, and that means React will not run at you. Good. So when returning model, okay, we've done this, then we should do this or this. So this fixes the issue. Then use class name instead of class. So we are going to do this in a moment. So if you notice here, so let's test them one after the other. So let me bring this here so I will not have to look for it. So use class name instead of class. So let's say I want to style this heading 2. So I'll go to my class name, then I'll use heading 2. So remember, I'll go to this app.css. So I'm going to remove all this. Then I put my dot heading 2. Just put color red. So if I do that, I'm going to notice some difference, but I will see my heading 2. So that's nice. So what if we wanted to go back to the place it was before? So we need to also do the same thing. So I'll go back to my index.css. Then of course I'll do my reset there, adding 0 pixel, margin 0 pixel, box sizing, border box. So if we do that, we'll have our page fully reset. So this is how it looks like. Okay, so that is it for this. So if statements must not be used inside JSS, instead use ternary operator. So we cannot use if statement. Then JSS makes it easier to write and add HTML in React. So just to show you, so let's remove this. Now this is a JavaScript file, JSX or JS. So to bring in a comment, control /. So this is JS environment. Then inside here too is JSS, is JavaScript environment, JS environment. Then anything inside this parent tag is JSX environment. So my God, my spelling. Environment. Hope I'm getting that correctly. Okay. Then anything outside here is just environment. So that is how it looks like. So if you're inside JSX environment and you want to go back to JS environment, which is JavaScript, you have to use this curly bracket. So that is just this for this. So in the next slide, you are going to learn what is in the next video, you're going to learn what is React component. But I believe with this video now, we'll now know about what the folder structure looks like and the JSX, what it means, and from there we'll build up by learning some few things in our React.